The Roman Empire, when conquering new populations, often encouraged the construction of temples for local deities in order to encourage the integration of new populations into the empire. Religion played an important role in the daily life of the Romans, and for them it was important that even the new populations felt at ease in the empire. Furthermore, the Romans were very tolerant of the religions of the other peoples they conquered, and often incorporated the local gods and goddesses into their religiosity. In this way, they could create a sort of fusion between the Roman religion and that of the new populations, which facilitated the integration and cooperation between the different cultures. This practice, known as interpretatio Romana, consisted in giving a Roman name to foreign deities. In this way the Romans could identify foreign deities with those of their religion, creating a sort of fusion between cultures. This policy of interpretatio Romana allowed the Romans to integrate the cultures of the newly conquered populations and to maintain the unity of the empire, with religion playing an important role in the integration and cohesion of the different cultures. In summary, in general the Romans were not interested in converting other populations to their religion, but rather in incorporating the gods and religious practices of the conquered populations into their religion. In this way they could create a sort of fusion between cultures. According to Christian tradition, Jesus of Nazareth, a Jewish preacher and healer, was crucified by the Romans because they saw his activity as a threat to public order and their power. Jesus was attracting many followers and preaching a message that questioned the religious and political authority of the Romans and the Jews. The Romans, as the imperial power in that region, decided to crucify Jesus as an example to others and to avoid a popular uprising. Jesus, as the Bible tells us, is part of the dynasty of David. David was a Jewish king who lived about 1,000 years before Christ. This means that Jesus had royal blood on his mother's side, Mary. The Romans conquered Judea, the territory where Jesus grew up, and lived in 63 BC. The term Messiah comes from the Hebrew mashiach and means anointed or chosen. In the Jewish context, the Messiah is a leader who would be sent by God to free his people from oppression and restore the kingdom of Israel. The concept of a Messiah was very strong in the Judaism of the time Jesus lived. Many expected a liberator who would defeat the Romans and restore Israel's independence, a figure similar to the warrior prophets of the past. Christianity interpreted Jesus as the Messiah awaited by the Jews, who would not only free his people from Roman oppression, but also from sin and death. Jesus, according to Christians, saved mankind from eternal death by offering a new way to salvation through faith in him. Jesus was therefore the liberator of his people from Roman oppression, not of humanity. And a whole religion was built on this story. The Romans were tolerant and integrated the divinities of others. Why would they have crucified Jesus? Why did they fear him for his religious messages? Jesus was a king who could never be in charge of his people, and the only reason for being convicted as a criminal is to be a leader who threatened the stability of the new Roman province in Judea. There is a passage in the Gospels where Jesus tells his disciples to get a sword. This passage is found in Luke 22:35-36, and he said to them, "When I sent you without purse, without bag and without sandals, was there anything missing?" And they answered, "Nothing." Then he said to them, "But now, whoever has a purse, let him also take his own, likewise also his bag, and whoever does not have, sell his cloak and buy a sword." This passage has often been interpreted as Jesus' advice to his disciples to prepare for violence and armed struggle. There is another passage in the Gospels where Jesus states that he did not come to bring peace, but the opposite. This passage is found in Matthew 10:34. "Do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword." Thanks for watching.